Do you guys know what season it is? I don't know. But there's a lot of pesky flies flying around, so let's deal with them. In the only way I know. Brute force. Now, to solve this enormous problem, I'm thinking we make a gas actuating fly swatter, which takes away the human error, which is great because I have a lot of that. Now, the build's getting very complicated, so let's break this down into 3 major parts. The head, the torso, and the legs. I'm not sure why I've given a human reference, but anyway, we shall continue and start with the head. It's bent a little bit. It's all about speed, guys. It's not hot if you're fast. Okay, we've now finished up the brain in our head section, and it's looking rather sharp because I've done some silicon bronze. So sharp, in fact, I cut my hand. I also have to deburr it, so that might have played a role there. Anyway, we're now working on the cams and pulleys to convert the linear force into rotational to swat for our fly swatter. It's very important because it's in the name. Fly swatter. Swatter? Anyway, let's make the pulleys. Press fit and a half. The head section is mostly completed. We've had to weld up both sides of our cams, and this is where the bearings are, so you can't actually service the bearings. But bearing in mind, pun intended, it will only move 140 degrees, so it's going to take a long time to wear those bearings out. Anyway, let's jump inside and get into the torso section, because we can't finish the head without the torso, obviously. It's not very obvious, is it? Because it doesn't make sense. Let's not focus on that, let's get inside. But before we go into the body section, a huge shout out from my sponsors, my Patreons. Thank you so much for supporting and funding these projects. I really do appreciate it, so thank you. And if you want early access to my videos, want updates on my projects, or just want to support me, check out my Patreon, link in the description. Thank you. Right, back to welding, I guess. Our beautiful piston is done, except I dropped it immediately after finishing, and now it's just a piston with character. It does still, however, fit beautifully inside our cylinder, where I've been deceived. The seamless pipe, has a seam, so not ideal. But nothing a cylinder hone can't fix. Maybe a cylinder hone can't fix. We'll find out if a cylinder hone can actually do this. I'm not sure this is actually the intended purpose. We'll find out. It's working. Yeah. Who would have guessed the cylinder hone is honing a cylinder? Oh! Beautiful. Our leg is all done. It is just a cylinder to hold compressed air, which means we're on to how we actually fire this. We've got ourselves a massive ball valve, but opening it is not very fast. So I've taken the handle off and put on a cam, which will work the exact same way as the actual fly swatter, converting linear motion of a spring into rotational, so we can fire this open with alacrity and obliterate whatever's in the path, and hopefully not myself included. Now you can see it opened too fast, so all we need to do is add a bolt so we can actually stop it in the correct location so we have full airflow. But apart from that, it worked great. Well, absolutely not getting sidetracked at all. I am laser focused on this project. But I couldn't help myself, it looked just like a potato cannon, so I turned it into one. Yep, you might say I've done a side quest. Anyway, it's going to actually fire lemons because I have a lemon tree, so it's more of a lemon cannon, but doesn't quite roll off the tongue as well, does it? Anyway, let's destroy a piece of plywood. Before we fire something out of this, I've just thrown a bit of paper wadding and let's see what happens. Wow. Very excited to see what a piece of citrus does when it actually builds up some pressure. Right, we have ourselves an unripe lemon, which oddly looks like a lime, I'm aware. Right, so let's see if we can actually hit the bit of plywood. Well, maybe get a bit of thicker plywood next time? Yep, so 12mm apply, which I absolutely thought would be strong enough, is not. So let's try 18mm. I really doubt that it's going to go through that, but I'm so shocked that there's a possibility. Terrifying. Right, we've got a lemon loaded up. Let's see what happens with some 18mm ply. Wow. Wow. I cannot believe it. We put a lemon through some 18mm plywood. Pretty speechless. I feel like it's self-explanatory, the amount of power, but regardless, I'm going to tell you anyway. It was unbelievably powerful. My hands were definitely shaking after I fired it. Now, the only reason I feel that this actually performed the way it did was because of the ball valve and the speed that we opened it. We just had all the air pressure instantly, and yep, the results speak for themselves. Anyway, that's the end of part one. I feel like that was a good side mission, and make sure you subscribe so you can actually see what happens when we finish the fly swatter, as this is actually meant to be, and you won't want to miss it because it will surprise you, again, the amount of power it has. Unbelievable. Anyway, make sure you like the video, it really helps me out, and yeah, stay tuned. See ya. Jeez.